All right, guys, we are back for episode 6 for our podcast. I was hoping he would be with us already. I want to tell David and his brother happy birthday. Saw some nice pictures on social media. I'll have to share it with the group here in just a second. Y'all can tell me what you think about this jersey that David's brother got. But first thing we want to talk about tonight is college football. A national championship, which we didn't think we'd get to, is here after all the COVID issues. But it's Bama versus Ohio State. Pretty much Bama had 3 guys that probably could have won the Heisman. And their offense is just as potent as Ohio State's. They both score 40 points a game, give up about 20 points a game, average about 540. The only thing different is Bama throws more and Ohio State runs more. But they give up about the same amount of yards. Pretty even. Now, the nation, according to ESPN, is saying 63% is voting. And so, Luke, you had a comment a while ago. What do you think?
I said, let's just go ahead and give it to Alabama. You know, Ohio State, you have to wonder, Ohio State gets that nod every now and then from the coaches poll or from they're just ranked in college football overall. But you just kind of have to wonder if it's not all just foreplay or if it's not all just, kind of circumstance or a little preemptive something. But it always comes down to it's going to be Alabama versus somebody. Or that's the way it's been in this dynasty that's going on right now in college football. And so I feel like with the conference that they're in and the games that they've played and the experience that they've gotten this year, because they have played more games than Ohio State this year. So it's the same Alabama that we've seen in years past that's gone up against Clemson. And I just don't think Ohio State's going to pull it out. So let's just go ahead and go to Alabama, be done with it. Call this season a wrap.
Well, I would have to say that just seeing some of the highlights in some games of Ohio State's got a very good quarterback. But I don't know. I think he's going to have to be on all cylinders, and that running game is going to have to be keeping Alabama's defense honest. Now, the last couple games, I think his name is Sermon. Is that right? The running back for Ohio State. Yes. He's been on fire, but I don't know.
He's the poor man's Najee Harris.
Yeah. I just feel like isn't Waddle supposed to be coming back for Bama?
Yes.
Waddle's supposed to be coming back, and he was supposed to be the main guy pretty much. And then you have Devontae Smith, who is unbelievable. And then you have Najee, and then you have
the
Mac.
whole offense.
Yeah.
It's not just one player. You've got
multiple weapons
that you're going to have to go through. Also, if you look at the way Alabama just rolled through Notre Dame, and Notre Dame was picked as one of the top 4 teams in the nation this year. And they just got steamrolled by Alabama.
Yeah, which we talked about, a couple weeks ago.
I know.
Kind of makes you think, it makes you think, what about that one-loss Texas A&M team?
They couldn't have done worse than Notre Dame. Let's just say it that way.
Like, even Texas A&M, their one loss, of course, is to Bama, 52-24. So if you think about, and that was when Texas A&M was 13 ranked. Now are they 5th or 6th? Is it 5th?
Who are you talking about?
A&M.
I wouldn't imagine
out.
Do what?
They were only a few places out, so it couldn't have been. It doesn't. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. It's the same.
Well, yeah, and it makes Alabama's, win look even better that Texas A&M is top 5 team in the nation. So that game winning 52-24, doubling the score. They, score 63 on Ole Miss, even though they gave up 48. So that was kind of a thing to think about. At the time, they beat number 3 Georgia. Tennessee, even though they were on their way down, that was still a big game. Hoping Tennessee can kind of turn it. They shut down which was supposed to be the high-powered Mississippi State offense, 41-0. LSU wasn't the LSU of last year, even though everybody was thinking, they were a team to beat. But they blew out Kentucky. Auburn was 22nd ranked. They beat them. Like, they handled everybody. Like, their lowest scoring game was Missouri. They scored 38 points. They hit 60 twice, and they hit 50s and 40s numerous times. And the only team that gave up more points, Ole Miss gave up 48 or scored 48, and Florida scored 46, which was a great SEC tournament or SEC championship. And Ohio State, we know that they didn't play too many because 3 of the games were totally canceled. Northwestern gave them a run. They kind of struggled in that championship game. But Penn State was 18th ranked when they played them, and Penn State's nowhere to be found now. They beat a good Indiana team, which Indiana had them on the ropes. But, and Clemson, Clemson is good. And they handled Clemson pretty well. But I'm going to go with Luke. I just think Bama's going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Notre Dame. Notre Dame just got rolled over by Clemson as well, 34-10 in their championship game. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'm looking at it too. Texas A&M is number 5.
5, yeah. So top 5 team.
Yeah.
And then you also have to factor in this in, and I think this is going to be a factor. I'm not so sure Justin Fields should be playing in this game. And I understand why he's playing in this game, but I'm not so sure for his health he should be playing in this game because he got rocked really bad. I guarantee it he had to break some ribs when he played Clemson. And they're not going to – I would not imagine Bama would go that far and, attack him on purpose. But the defensive line is going to get him.
Oh yeah,
it's just it's a fact. They're gonna sack him, and you're gonna have this 300-pound dude or 300+ pound dude fall on top of him, and I really do wonder if that first time it happens if he's gonna be knocked out of the game. And like one of my points why Bama is so good this year is because you can take anyone out of their offense, and they're still gonna be good.
Well, yeah,
Even their backup, their second string is better than most. Or quite a few teams in even the SEC.
And they're
their second string. I could coach almost a winning team in the.
Well,
SEC.
yeah. If anybody left Bama, that person's probably going to be a starter. Well, here's one person right here, Alvin Kamara. He was a third string back on the Alabama's team. Got in some trouble, mainly personal issues. Went to the JUCO school, and then went to Tennessee as a backup, and now one of the best all-around running backs in the league.
You look at Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, he goes to Oklahoma and becomes the starter for them. Leads them, and they're doing great in college football.
Well, and he was the starter, and then Tua comes in and wins the national championship.
Yeah.
But it's
not because Jalen Hurts was terrible.
Yeah. If Oklahoma last year would have had this year's defense, the Notre Dame spot, or maybe even the Ohio State spot we wouldn't have had to worry about that. I know they lost 2 games, but that was early on. But by the end of it, they were, I think it would have been a different story if they had last year's defense, or if they had this year's defense last year with Jalen Hurts' offense.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at Justin Fields. He's a junior. There's talks of him going pro. Just in, let's say, half the games compared to last year. Last year, he threw for 41 and 3 touchdowns and interceptions. He had 21 touchdowns, but he already had 6 interceptions. His completion was better, but it's just the interceptions, which some people worry about, and that's how the season went on. He got his 6 interceptions in the last 4 games. He threw 3 against Indiana, and then he didn't throw any against Michigan State. But in the Northwestern game, he had no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And then, like I said, he went off for 6 touchdowns against Clemson. So you kind of forget about the interception there. But he still had 6 in the last 4 games. So it's something to think about. I think that he's going to have to throw for 250, 300, and that Sermon guy's going to have to run for 150. That's just no way there.
I mean, and if you look at Mac Jones for Alabama, like he threw 4 touchdown passes. He finished with an 83% completion. If Ohio State can't get some defense to double up on some of those receivers, if they can't take away the passing game, and he can score on his feet. Like, he's not a slouch with running either. But if they can't stop the receptions, and they're a double-edged sword. Like, their passing game is great, but their running game is nothing to be laughed at either. They're going to get you with one or the other.
Yeah, I think that's where you have to, the game plan, their defense plan is going to, they're going to have to find a way to neutralize. I mean, like I said, you've got Najee Harris, you've got Devontae Smith, a Heisman Trophy winner. That dude's going to get his catches. He's going to get his reception yards. Najee Harris is going to get his run yards. How do you stop him?
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, Randy, I mean, he's going to, the Ohio State quarterback Fields, he's going to, I mean, yeah, against Clemson, I mean, he threw for 385 yards, went 22 for 28. Was 6 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty good, And I remember the last podcast, I said they were going to have to really prove that they belonged in the national championship, and I think they did. I mean, they didn't just skirt by Clemson; they whooped them pretty good. But Alabama's not Clemson. Alabama's not Clemson. They're good on both sides of the ball. So I think that's where hopefully that's where what they're trying to figure out is how do you neutralize these weapons that Alabama's got on both sides of the ball, but especially in the running back, the wide receiver, and the quarterback. I mean, and of course, like Ryan said, the whole squad. I mean, it doesn't just fall on the wide receivers, running back, and quarterback. You've got an O-line that is top notch. They have been for years. So, like I said, I think Ohio State proved they did belong there, but I don't think they're going to do the same thing with Clemson they did with Alabama.
Well, and looking at their ball game with Clemson, in the first quarter, both teams score 14 points, and I don't think you can give Alabama that kind of foothold.
Mm-mm.
They shut them down pretty good after that, but if you give Alabama a 2-touchdown lead, you're in all likelihood you're not bringing that back. You can play great defense, figure it out after that the rest of the game.
I think they've
they're going to keep piling it on.
I think they've lost one game when they're not or something like that, not in the lead.
Ohio State or Alabama?
No, Alabama. I can't remember what the record is. They've only lost one game.
It's really low. But how often do you see Alabama even be behind in a game?
I know. When they're in the lead, I think they've only actually lost one game, allowed somebody to come back and beat them. Yeah, we've seen Alabama lose pretty good, especially even Clemson in the national championship game. But like I said, I think that record speaks for itself. And I agree with you, Luke. If you even give Alabama a foothold, if you let them get ahead, the chances of you coming back are so slim. I mean, just like I said, the record speaks for itself. And so I think for Ohio State to even have a chance, they're going to have to get ahead, and they're going to have to get ahead early. They're going to have to get them on their heels. Put them in a position they're not used to being in, which is coming from behind.
Well, here's a statistic right here. So I pointed out the 6 interceptions that Justin Fields had. He's still throwing 67%, still throwing 1,100 yards. But those 6 interceptions all came to top 25 ranked teams.
Mm.
So his only interceptions this year came to ranked teams. So he had 9. that was only in 3 games. 3 games, he threw 6 interceptions. So that means non-ranked games, he threw 9 touchdowns. So what is their record? 7-0. So that means in 4 games he threw 9 touchdowns, which that's pretty good for most anybody. But he was also sacked 12 times in those games. But, of course, it's like any sport. You have a lot of turnovers. You can end up winning the game. So it's just going to depend on that. What can they make him do? Is he going to struggle against that defense? Which coach is going to scout better? It's just numerous things you can look at.
Yeah. I mean, Ohio State's going to have to play an almost perfect game. No turnovers. And then you're going to have to get some turnovers. You're going to have to find a way to get the ball back from Alabama and capitalize on that.
That's what I was going to say. They're going to have to capitalize
Even if it's
on
just a field goal, you've got to capitalize. You've got to score points off of turnovers, because just 3 and outs, even after a turnover, is not going to do it. Because it's just going to give the ball right back to them, and you didn't really do anything. And Alabama's not one for turnovers anyway, but you give them a chance to score after a turnover, and you didn't do anything with it. That doesn't help your case. So you got to capitalizing off turnovers, and then getting those turnovers, forcing some type of turnover is going to be key too, I think.
All right.
Anyway, I don't think Ohio State can go, punch for punch, blow for blow. Alabama score, they score, Alabama score, they score, and it comes down to who's got the ball last. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. That may turn out that way, but I don't think Ohio State's prepared to do that. I don't think they're going to be capable of standing with toe to toe with Alabama like that.
Agree. Ryan, prediction and any last comments?
Ultimately, I think it goes Alabama's way. The only other comment that I have, and it's something we've discussed
roll
before.
Tide.
No, I'm not gonna say roll Tide.
Okay. I didn't know you were gonna do like that commercial and say roll Tide.
No.
Okay.
I feel bad for Ohio State, and I know it sounds weird, but I feel bad for Ohio State if they win. And the reason, I feel bad for them if they win or they lose, because if they win, there's no one no one in this country besides Ohio State fans and the media and sports media, because they'll kind of be obligated to do that. But no one in this country besides Ohio State fans and the media are going to sit there and go, you know what? They totally deserve that. They're not. There's not. Ohio State fans are like, this is the best team. And it's like, no, you played 7 games. Or you played 8 games. Ultimately, you played 8 games, whereas Alabama played more games. So there's going to be an asterisk beside their name. And it's going to be much worse if Alabama comes in there and just stomps them. I mean, seriously, it will be much worse if Alabama just completely rolls over them. So, but that's really all my comments. I think Alabama gets it. I mean, I guess at the end of the day,
You got a score?
not really.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No score?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game for
Okay.
both teams.
All right, Luke, comments?
48-35.
48-35. Okay.
That's going to be my prediction. Because I think with such a high-powered offense on both sides of the ball, Ryan's right. Like, it's just going to be an offensive struggle. And so it's really going to be whoever's defense really shows up, that's going to change this game one way or the other. But I don't say it often either, but roll Tide.
Ross?
I'm going to go 49-28, man. I got the same score as Ohio State and Clemson. I think they're going to I think it's going to be a 3-touchdown lead.
Well, I think 38-24. but I feel like Alabama's going to have like a 38-10, 38-7 lead or something, and Ohio State's going to score a couple points there at the end. Not much to do anything. I think that's what's going to happen. There were some talks about, since this game is two high-powered offenses, could it be like Oregon and Auburn was back when Cam Newton was there, and it was like 21-19 or wherever that final score was, which was pretty much a defensive game. But I don't know. I think just the offenses are just too good. So that's my thing on that. And I know we have two A-State alumni with us. I don't know if you guys know, since we're fixing to move into this next topic here in a second, but J.D. McKissick scored a touchdown for the Washington no-name team earlier today. So he has the only touchdown. Yep.
Dude,
But
Cheered for him
definitely,
since
he turned it up
watching
in the
him
league.
play.
yeah,
Since he was the leading receiver in college football.
now he's a decent running back. And now there's a fumble going the no team's name way. Still 18-10 on that game. Ron,
So
do you want to, before we move into the NFL playoffs, talk about your South Carolina?
It's not really. The question is, how to best put this. It's not necessarily about when a team is a team relevant, but I guess in a sense it's the same question as when is a team relevant again? Like every year you hear the words Texas is back when they win a bowl game. You've heard that a lot about Arkansas this year when they won games. Arkansas's back, but the reason why I bring this up is because there was one of the guys I follow on Twitter, SEC Mike. He was talking about South Carolina and their football team, like the decisions that they've made regarding positions and or position coaches and whatnot. And I think he was kind of, making fun of South Carolina because the fans had been going on and on about how great they were going to be and how this new guy, who I wish him all the best, this new guy was going to come in and he was just going to change everything and he was going to hire like the most amazing staff. And then some of his picks have been meh. And I was reading the comment section on it, and there was a Hog fan that got in there and said something, and there was a South Carolina fan that commented like, oh, Hog fans, you won 3 games this year, and you think you're better, or you think you're good again, or you think you're relevant again. But my argument, I commented on it. My argument was, and I said, like, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. We won 3 games. I think we could be better, but I wouldn't say that we're not relevant like you're saying. And the reason why is because for the longest time, when they got, I think his name is Beamer. When they got Beamer, they kept saying the South Carolina fans just kept going on and on and on about how they were going to get Barry Odom, they were going to get Kendall Briles, and they were going to get Justin Stepp, which they did get Justin Stepp. So they were basically saying they were going to get our whole coaching staff. And I was saying, you say we're not good, but you want our coaching staff. So, just kind of in the vein of that, I guess I'm not really asking a question, but would it seem like any team at all? And I can't say Arkansas State here because Arkansas State got like Alabama's people. So, they're getting people that have been made relevant because of Alabama. So it's not like, is Alabama relevant? Well, that's yes, they are relevant.
Then let me interject something real quick. So does that mean that a lot of the SEC teams were relevant because of Arkansas State? Because for a period, there was a 5-coach turnover from Arkansas State. We would get a coach, they would go to an SEC team. And those SEC teams typically performed really well the next year whenever they took Arkansas State's coach. And so anyway, that's all I wanted to say on that. But so, if you're emulating excellence by stealing a coach, then what's that say about Arkansas State then?
I think that means that they're relevant. It's more or less, can if you're going to sit there and say a team's not relevant and then you're going to be wanting all their coaches, it's like, excuse me.
Yeah, so either you're wanting to not be relevant or suck still because you want the team that sucks. Like, yeah, that I hate when people do that too. You know, it happens in all sports. You know, you sit here and dog a player. Let's say LeBron. You know, LeBron. Can't stand LeBron. Can't stand LeBron. And then he goes to the Lakers, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm the number one LeBron fan. Well, I understand he's with your team. I got that. But you didn't like him because of his personal reasons. Like, I'm a big Lakers fan, but I still have issues with LeBron. I still hated how he acted when he did the whole decision thing. Like, if I could have LeBron his first term in Cleveland, that's LeBron I liked. I even liked D-Wade his early years, and then they all teamed up together. I just felt like it was too cocky. They didn't really go out and do what they said they were going to do, and then I think LeBron jumped ship because he knew D-Wade was getting too old. He probably got tired of Chris Bosh because, you know, Chris Bosh even had issues and didn't talk to him for a while because he said he just up and left. But I feel like you need to be a winning team or increasingly getting better statistics or records or something for about 2 or 3 years, just like the whole coaching situation. You want a coach there, and you're going to see how well he's going to be for about 3 years. You get his recruits in, you get the other person's recruits out, then you see what you're working with. You know, like, if that's the case, well, time out real quick. Washington just scored, backup quarterback Heineke, 18-16 pending kickoff. Tampa Bay's winning.
Are they not going to go for 2?
I don't know. I'll let you know. But, you know, last year, 6-game winning streak, Tennessee's back. We'll throw that out there. Tennessee's back. We SEC champs. And we play SEC championship football, and then we go in at halftime at Georgia, and we decide, listen, guys, let's just down your 98 rankings and stuff on Madden. We're going to put them about the 60s for the rest of the season. And the team that was in there in the first half was not the team that came out in the second half. It was not the team that was there the rest of the season. Because if the team that played the first 2.5 games, would have played the rest of the season, I think they'd be in the same boat as Texas A&M. I really do.
Probably.
But like, I can't say I love Tennessee. I'll ride and die with them, but I don't think they're back. 2-point conversion. Logan Thomas didn't make it to the 2. So
I actually have a question about Tennessee.
okay.
Are they about to fire Pruitt?
I don't know. I really don't know. Somebody has been joking around that they said that Tennessee's on a hiring freeze, and they're putting quotes around the freeze.
Like Q freeze.
Yeah, which
but
I don't know.
I've heard that.
Again, former Arkansas State coach.
I don't know. I really like Pruitt. I like everything he's done. I don't know what happened this year because he did good his first year. He had a big turnover last year. He's gotten great recruits. He has the top 2 recruiting people in the nation.
That's the problem right there.
What?
The recruiting. That's what's going on. That's what it seems like he's in trouble for. And they're doing are they doing a personal investigation, or are they doing it as NCAA?
I think they're doing a personal one.
Okay. That's what I'm wondering. Is he going to get fired for that?
I don't know. It's just like he's been a winner wherever he's went, from Florida State to Alabama. Like, I want a good defense, but I want the offense to be consistent. And so it's just reading stuff that I get from, you know, like little pages and things I read from Tennessee. It's just kind of crazy. I don't know what's going to go on with it.
I'm just going to throw this out there since we're talking about what makes a team relevant. I'm going to my opinion on this is that if you're not a threat, you're not relevant. If you can't make those big team, the number one team in your conference, if you can't make them nervous, then you're not there. You haven't gotten it yet. Now, Arkansas State, I feel like this year, even though they didn't win many games this year, they did make some teams nervous because their offense is such a high-powered scoring offense. You're looking at 400 to 500 yards of offense per game consistently. Now, their defense, and I love Arkansas State, and that'll be my college team forever until I die, but their defense just didn't have it this year. And, in fact, it's been a couple of years since their defense was really able to put a stop to it. Now, if you can get back to where your defense is keeping up, because it's been a few years, but I think it was 3 years ago, the defense usually scored as many or only a fewer touchdowns than the offense did. They were a defensive powerhouse. So you were looking at 2 to 3 defensive touchdowns per game. The pick sixes, the fumble recoveries, they were just good on defense. And it's been a while. So we're not, I would say that we've kind of lost some of the relevance. And it's because we don't really we're not really pushing it. We're not really, you've got to have more than just a winning season. If you're finishing 7-6, are you relevant? Your name gets tossed around occasionally, but that doesn't mean that you're there. Now, if you're, Alabama, Ohio State, even though I'm pretty sure I know how that game is going to go, but those teams are relevant because they're turning in perfect seasons. Who's going to stop them? So if you can say it like that, I think you are relevant.
All right. So let's go on from that. We're going to go into first week, which it's not quite over with day one. There's 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter. It's Tampa Bay 18, Washington 16. So Washington's hanging in with old Tom and Chase Young winning his matchup against Tom Brady. But first game today was the Colts versus Bills. Bills got their first playoff win since 1995. Josh Allen looked good. Phillips Rivers looked good too, but they just couldn't. They just fell behind too much. Like Josh Allen finished with 324, 2 touchdowns. I don't know. Buffalo just seems really good right now. They're still too hot. But I have to say this. I think the Colts, they were my surprise team. I knew Philip Rivers would be different than Brissett, but I didn't see them going 11-5. I saw them maybe going 8-8, 9-7, but I think that they did pretty well. T.Y. Hilton wasn't the T.Y. Hilton that has been out there, but pretty good for Colts. Buffalo just outdid them. Did anybody get to watch any games or any of those highlights?
I watched the Bills, most of the Bills and Colts game, and I also watched most of the Rams and Seahawks game.
Well, I know at one time, I think it was for the first half, but I could be wrong. Stephon Diggs only had 1 catch for 36 yards, and he finished with 6 catches for 128 and a touchdown. So he pretty much went off there.
Catches, though, were clutch catches. Josh Allen threw those. I did see the highlight reels, and I saw the passes. And both passes, one of the announcers said that it was like throwing a grain of rice through a keyhole. And it was. Like he had him on a string. It was a laser-guided pass to the back of the end zone with a defender right there between them. Perfect for blocking that pass or batting it down or anything. And it just, I don't even know how to say it better than that. It was just a laser-guided pass right to Stephon Diggs. And he makes 2 huge catches that keeps the offense rolling.
Yeah.
You've also got to be scared of Josh Allen. Like, if you're a defense, Because, yeah, you want to cover the pass because he's got such a weapon there with Stephon Diggs, and he can throw the ball. But if you just cover the pass, then Josh is he's gonna tuck it and run, and then you got to stop him there because he's also the leading rusher for the team.
Yeah, he was. Singletary and Moss had 42 yards combined, and he had 54. So
Touchdown.
Now I feel like if you set somebody up in a spy or kind of a zone to kind of watch for him to run and play back in coverage, maybe you could stop him. But you're going to have Singletary or somebody step up to really get that push, especially against a really good defensive team. So they were the number 2 seed. So they're going to get.
I think they'll either get
The Steelers
the
are playing
Browns or
Browns.
the Steelers.
Or Titans versus Ravens. So they're either going to get the 4th, 5th. Well, the 3rd, 4th, or 5th team. Because if the Steelers beat the Browns, they'll get the Steelers. If the Titans beat the Ravens, then they'll get the Titans.
Unfortunately for the Browns, they're not going to win tomorrow's game.
Why do you think that?
Because I think like a good chunk of their team is out with COVID.
That is true.
Like that is the only reason why I think that they're not going to win that game tomorrow.
Well, before we move on to that, what about the Rams going into Seattle?
I was a little surprised, to be honest.
I was surprised
the Seahawks.
How much of the outcome?
Yeah, and it wasn't just like the Bills and Colts score. I feel like that game wasn't maybe as close as what the score says it is. And then the Rams and Seahawks, I feel like it was way different. The Rams seemed to have that one under control from the beginning. Russell Wilson just getting shut down, pick 6. They just intercepted a pass like the play a couple plays before. He just couldn't get anything going with that Rams defense. And made some iffy throws too.
Well, the Rams were, 4-4 on the road, and the Seahawks were 7-1. So that's pretty much totally different records for home and away. Which I know you're supposed to win most of your games at home. That's what home field advantage is about. But that still means the Rams, only went 6-2 at home. But Jared Goff wasn't supposed to start, and he didn't. But if it wasn't for Wolford getting hurt and then getting rushed to the hospital, I saw, there's no telling what would have happened in that game. Now, he did have some pretty decent drives that got stopped, but he got taken out. I think they have Blake Bortles on their team, but he wasn't on the active roster, so the only person who was left was Goff. And he came
He
in.
looked like the Jared Goff of old.
I thought he did pretty well. I just don't think he was as good as he needed to be, because he still threw right around 50% of his passes completed, because he only threw for 155 during the 3 quarters that he played. Like Russell Wilson, they kept talking about all season, we just got to let him cook. Well, he cooked and he couldn't boil water. Like, that's just simple as it was. Like Carson's running game, he averaged 5 yards a carry, 77 yards, but then Cam Akers was the guy, like 131 yards. And then he had 45 yards receiving. It was good to see Cooper Kupp actually have some yardage, because he had kind of struggled this year. But, Metcalf still led in receiving. He had both touchdowns. But Lockett, he didn't really establish himself. Like, Seattle was just totally out of whack to me.
It's that defense.
Talking about Rams?
Yes, the defense, it reminds me of the Broncos defense from their last Super Bowl.
Like I said, they had five sacks.
They're good enough to get them the win in the
6
Super Bowl if they can make it
interceptions.
there. As long
But-
as Aaron Donald stays safe or stays healthy, that is.
See, it's crazy to me that, you know, they were talking about them being the number one defense, and
Wins championships.
it does. And then I see, you know, they lost to the Bills, but the Bills are the Bills. They're great. They lost to the Dolphins, and then they've lost to the Jets. You know, they've even lost to Seattle at Seattle already once, and then they lost to 49ers twice. So it's like
Consistency error.
because if you look at their wins, Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Washington, all losing teams from a division. You can say, well, that's a division winner, and they're competing with Tampa Bay right now. But then they beat the Seahawks, but that's a home game. They beat the Bears. That's a home game. They beat the Buccaneers. You know, and then, but it's like there's only about 5 games here that you might consider that are good wins out of their 10. Because even their losses, you know, it's like the Jets at one time were 0 forever. So, and then when they beat the Cardinals last game of the season, that was with an injured Kyler Murray. So just think what he would have been like. But so depending on, so let's talk about this. Saints versus Bears. Who wins that? Does Trubisky, who's been on fire since his benching, have the Bears come back?
Saints.
I'm just on the fence with this. I can see the Saints winning, but for some reason I can see Trubisky being like hero. Maybe not for like the whole playoff run, but maybe for this one. Kind of like the Marshawn Lynch running for that 76-yard run or whatever it was several years ago.
I don't know. You got a healthy Drew Brees, and I think you have a healthy Kamara. It's really hard to beat that offense when you got both of them in sync. Let's not
Well,
forget,
that's true.
Alvin Kamara said 6 touchdowns a couple weeks ago.
He
And
did.
their defense is still strong. Like they still are able to stop the other team pretty effectively.
Well, depending on that game, if the Bears win, then the Packers get the Bears, which would just be a rematch of their division. But if not, then the Rams will play in Green Bay. And then depending on this game, the Washington and Bucks, I guess to depend on also who would go against the Packers. But mainly it's going to be Saints and Bears. So earlier you said Steelers are going to beat the Browns. What about Titans and Ravens?
I think they'd go either way.
That one's a hard one to call. It depends on Drew Henry. That's what I think. I think if he has an on-fire game like he did, then he's good to go. And he'll put the team on his back, and he'll carry them all the way through. And if he doesn't get any running room, if they are able to stop that run, then the Ravens pull through. Can we pick just defensive touchdowns? Because I feel like that more than any other game is just the ball of defense. Who's got their offenses? If I'm not mistaken, neither of their offenses are really that powerful, that potent, that surprising, or there's not much flash to them.
Well, I think the key is going to be Tannehill. Like, Derrick Henry could run for 200 yards, but if Tannehill's not effective, which he has been, he has a quarterback rating of 106, 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And since he took over as the starter last year, you know, they've pretty much turned over a different team. So I feel like if he comes out, he's going to be fine, or the whole team's going to be fine.
And if you're looking at, like I'm looking at both quarterbacks' touchdown ratios to their interceptions, they both have a fairly high number of interceptions as well. So again, it kind of, for me, it comes down to which defense is going to really show up and stop the other guy. But really for Tennessee, they just need to work on containment. They've got to stop Lamar Jackson from being able to run and throw on the run. If they can do that, they can just offer some containment and keep him as a pocket passer. I think they've got the edge.
Ryan, what do you think?
What do I think about the Tennessee? I agree with Luke. You know, it's – and I don't mean to say this. Like, I don't mean to be mean about Baltimore, but, you know, it's a gimmick team. You stop Lamar Jackson and you stop the whole entire offense. You know, I think they have, like, game plans, you know, something happens and everything because, you know, they were able to go out there and win with, what's that guy's name? That backup quarterback, not RG3, the other one, who played really well. But
Oh, yeah. I can't remember his name right now.
It's like a song that was about him. But, yeah, I think if Baltimore is able, or if Tennessee is able to stop Baltimore or just Lamar Jackson, then it's, you know, it's Tennessee's game because Tennessee's offense, again, it's a lot like Alabama's offense in the college football. They can throw on you and they can pass on you. Now, theirs is different in which, you know, if you stop the run and you put the game in Tannehill's hands, then, you know, it might get a little dicey from there. I'm a little shocked that ESPN Tracker has Baltimore winning it they have them winning it by a 62.7% margin versus Tennessee's 37.3%. And I would very much put this game down the middle because I think it really could go either way.
Ross, what do you think? I know you're not too big into the NFL, but or what do you want? I guess what's your personal thing?
My personal thing? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Like, would you like to see Titans win? Lamar Jackson?
Who's the underdog?
I'm going to say that the Titans are the underdog.
They're
For
both almost
ESPN,
an
they're the
underdog.
underdog.
Because the Titans are the winner of the division. But, you know, with how the Ravens have played recently, I feel like a lot of people are giving the Titans the underdog status.
A lot of it's just who's peaking at the right time. You know, who's on that uphill swing versus who's on the downhill swing. Because both teams are 11-5. They've got similar quarterback statistics. In the run, but the main thing to me is the rushing yards. Like you've got Lamar Jackson with the 1,000-yard season in rushing and 7 touchdowns. Well, then you've got Derrick Henry, and he's got 2,000 yards and 17 touchdowns. But he's not the quarterback, you know, so they're not just one-dimensional.
Yeah.
You've got Lamar Jackson, who pretty much is the offense for Baltimore. Now, that being said, the reason that he is the offense is because he's so dang good on his feet. Like, he can run the ball. He makes pretty decent decisions down the field when he is passing. He can throw the ball. But he's also a little more susceptible to some bad decisions, throwing into coverage and that kind of stuff. Whereas Tannehill is more of the pocket passer. It's just two different styles. So whoever can adapt to the other style better is going to have an advantage.
Interject real quick. The update on the Washington game. It's 21-16 Tampa Bay. The quarterback for Washington got hurt. Went
It's
to the
over.
locker room with
It's Tampa Bay's game now.
his arm kind of drooping.
It's
So
over.
I don't know who else they have at quarterback because Kyle Allen's out. They got rid of Haskins and Alex Smith. So the only thing on
It's
the
over.
roster is the Steven Montez.
Game, set, match.
He won that position out of a bag of Doritos.
It
So
is
let's see.
Tampa Bay this week.
His mama has him on on her fantasy football, and that's about it.
You know, I was sitting there thinking about when you asked me that question. I was like, who do I root for? And I mean, you guys know me. I really don't care. I do not really sleep over who wins the Super Bowl. You know, Tom Brady moving to Tampa Bay. I mean, that'd be kind of cool to see. You know, with him without the Patriots, see what he. You know, I mean, he made it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, he was the franchise of, you know, New England. So seeing him in Tampa Bay win, do I think, you know, are they probably going to win a Super Bowl? Probably not. Even though I'm not keeping up with it, I know enough of it to know that Tampa Bay's probably not going to make it to the Super Bowl. But just kind of see him, you know, maybe win another game. That'd be kind of cool. You know, because he is with a new team. You know, he is getting on up there in age. I imagine he's going to be retiring soon.
Touchdown Tampa Bay.
Told you.
I mean,
It's over. They gave up.
Lots of old people moved to moved to Florida when they're
God's waiting room.
You know, so you know, maybe he is chasing one more championship before he retires.
Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah.
he's 100% chasing another championship.
You know,
Hope he just retires.
you know,
Don't like
so
Tom Brady.
Well, Ross,
I remember I got into a
They'll win
with a guy
next
one
year.
time, and we were talking about, you know, is Tom Brady the best quarterback
ball hit the ground. Sorry.
or the best quarterbacks that ever played the game? And I said, you know,
He's
we,
one of
we were
them.
talking about
He's one of them. As much as I
He's
hate
one
him,
of them.
sure, he's good. But
And I conceded to say, I was like, I think he's one of the best playoff quarterbacks we've ever, you know, maybe the best. Now, of course, Joe Montana went 4 for 4. How many does Tom Brady have? He has 5, right? 6? He has 6. So, no, who else has got that many? Nobody?
Nobody.
Nobody's got that many. So, maybe not overall because, I mean, I don't know how many records he holds, but yeah, as a quarterback, but I mean, he's got the record for Super Bowls, you know. So I conceded to say, and this was a while back, but I conceded to say, I think he's the best playoff quarterback ever. Like I said, you know, you got to throw Joe Montana in there too because he went 4 for 4,
Yeah.
without a loss. But that's beside the point. But anyway, like I said, you know, I just think that'd be kind of cool seeing him with a new team. You know, prove that he is one of the best, and it wasn't just all the Patriots. And but
Yeah,
you know,
I agree with that because that would be kind of like you know, all the stuff. Oh, this is his last throw with the Patriots was an interception.
You know, the cheating allegations that were against the Patriots, how many times, and
Yeah.
You know,
Well, see, and I still have that issue because, you know, some people say, well, he still won. But there's nothing in NFL where they can take wins away like in college. You know, you don't hear about it, them saying, well, we're stripping the Super Bowl from you. We're stripping 15 wins from you, Belichick. But when your team is losing draft picks, when your team is being fined millions of dollars, when your owner, your coach, everybody's being fined for all that, the footballs not being aired right, to the spying on the teams and stuff. So there's information there that you're getting in trouble about. So it has to mean that all that was truthful, which that's a whole different subject. But
yeah,
it's just like I would like, you know, I guess it'd be kind of cool to see him win, and then people think, see, I wasn't washed up. My last throw to be an interception, that was just part of the game. I'm with a different team now. It kind of like we were talking about, some friends and I were talking about the other night about college basketball. You can be one and done. So every year, this college team has to plan on winning the championship that year. There's nothing saying, if I recruit these people and this person, in 2 to 3 years, we could win a national championship in college basketball. That's kind of where the Buccaneers are at right now. You don't know how much longer Tom Brady's got. So you have to win. You have the receivers. The running game is iffy, but the defense is okay. So you have to win now. There's no, we got a franchise quarterback to possibly win like it was 20 years ago with Tom Brady. But so they've got to win because, like they have to draft the next Lamar Jackson, the next Patrick Mahomes, if they want to win with Mike Evans and Godwin and even Antonio Brown being young. So.
Yeah, here's a thought that just popped in my head too. When it comes to Tom Brady, yeah, like I said, he has a few asterisks behind this name, behind the Patriots, because of the accusations that were against him. The fact is like he didn't have to move to another team to win a championship. Everybody talks about LeBron, Bron's the greatest, but he can't win. It seems like he can't win a championship unless he goes to the right team when he's got. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it all by yourself by any means, but we're talking about LeBron moving down to Miami, didn't like how he handled that, and he had to stack up with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, and they still couldn't get it done.
Yeah, like you got beat by Dirk Nowitzki and a bunch of old timers.
Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved watching Dirk Nowitzki play. That dude could really ball. But when I compare that to Tom Brady, like Tom Brady stayed where he was. He didn't, even with all the accusations against him. It was I'm staying with the Patriots, stay with the Pats, and he won 6 championships out of how many they went to 9. I think he won 6 out of 9. I think right. Almost had a perfect season until Eli Manning took it away.
Yeah.
So I don't deny I won't deny at all that, Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks to play the game.
Well, even
I don't know, but in some areas he is. But I just like I said, as far as he's gone with the Patriots, and now he decides to go down to Tampa Bay, and I said I'm not much into NFL football, so I don't know his real motives behind going down to Tampa Bay. I don't know if he just wanted to be in Florida or he's
just ready to retire.
Just
I think he was kind of being. I think the relationship was kind of being run out because, like Belichick even being there, I don't think that's a great relationship with Kraft. This is just things I've heard and my personal opinion, but like. Jimmy G was supposed to be the next step to greatness there. And when they traded him to the 49ers, Belichick, I don't think liked that. And so and then all the stuff about Tom Brady, I think he was just done. He's just like, I'm done with this. I still want to play, but I'm done with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Not to, I guess, dive off of that territory. I also think too, like guys like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, their relationship might be fractured and whatnot, but they're about football. Like they are 100% about football. They don't really care about much else that's going on in the world except football. And I'm sure they have their own opinions on everything. Robert Kraft is a distraction. He's a complete distraction. Their personal, and not to jump into this, but their personal politics became a distraction. And I just don't think they like it at all. And, so like when Bill Belichick leaves there, and he will eventually leave there, and I'm sure he'll go, if he doesn't retire, I'm sure he'll go be a head coach somewhere else. I think he's going to want to go to a team where the owner is not a distraction and everything. And honestly, I believe if they don't get a franchise quarterback this year, the next Tom Brady, which, Cam Newton's not going to stay there, I don't think. Or if they don't get some weapons around him anyways, he's going to leave. He'll either quit on his own or he'll be fired.
Well, see, Cam Newton, this is supposed to be like a resurgence for him. And those first couple games, especially that game in Seattle, he kind of looked like he was back.
I think he got rocked by COVID.
And he's, like I said, he's just, I don't know. I haven't felt good about him since the year he went to the Super Bowl. Ever since then, I've just kind of felt like he's just kind of he's burned out, whether it's health, because, he took a lot of hits. He was having too many shoulder issues and back issues, and which that comes with a quarterback that wants to that's going to happen to Lamar Jackson. He's going to end up like Michael Vick, and he's going to end up getting popped a couple times, and concussions are going to get him. Look at, Steve Young. Steve Young got so many concussions, he had to call it quits. He was just having too many issues there. But I don't know. I'm going to say my personal.
I love to hate.
Yeah. But my personal thing in the AFC, I still want. I would cheer for the Bills. But I think the only team that I would personally want to win is either the Chiefs or the Bills on that side. On the NFC, if Alex Smith can stay healthy, I would love to see – if they could pull this win out, I would love to see Washington win just because Alex Smith and all the stuff that he's overcome in the last couple of years. But if he can't do it, I'm going to have to go Packers.
Not going to go for the Bears?
No.
For Mr. T?
No.
No, I still think the Saints are going to handle the Bears just fine.
Yeah. I'll side with my dad on that one. I know he's a big Bears fan, so just to see my dad happy, I like the Bears.
Like I said, if they win and they play the Packers, like I said, they're going to have to. Like I said, Trubisky's going to have to stay hot like he has been in the last several games, but after that,
it's almost if that happens, if the Bears get past the Saints and they make it to the Packers, the Bears are going to have to score on every possession to have a chance. Because otherwise, Aaron Rodgers is just going to take you apart.
He was the MVP, or is the MVP.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they've announced it yet, have they?
No, not yet.
But, I mean, yeah, you're right. He probably should be the MVP this year.
If he's not, with the stuff that the numbers he's put up, it's just been crazy. But I don't know. I think I would be happy with a Packers-Bills Super Bowl.
I would love to see the Bills make it.
I think the Bills would like to win one since they lost those 4 in a row back in the 90s. As long as they're not playing the Cowboys, I guess. But
there's not a chance of that happening this time. So.
No, there's not. Ross, any final thoughts with NFL, NBA, video games, anything before we end our podcast?
No, I'm really enjoying playing through The Last of Us. I haven't played it in 6 years, so there's some things like I remember on the game, like, oh, this is coming up, but most of it I just don't, and I'm happy for that because I'm enjoying playing through it so much. Can't wait to play the next one, The Last of Us 2. I'm gonna try to stream that immediately after I finish the Last of Us. And after that, I don't know what I'm going to move into. I'll pick something, but
after you beat that, so I won't tell you any. I would like to have a segment, and it could just be talking about all games, but I kind of want to talk about The Last of Us and storyline, and because I still love the game. I thought it was great.
It's even better on the PS5.
Yeah,
it just is. It's just so much better because it came out on PS3, and then I remember we were still living in Warren, and you got that game. I remember you were playing, and I was like, dude, I am not watching you play that game because I wanted to play it too.
Yeah.
And but it's just better on the PS5. Like the storyline, the story arc is great. The characters are great. Watching them develop. The game dynamics are just fun.
Well, it was just one of the few games at the time, and it'd been a long time since I'd played a game that was other than a sports game that just took me in and had my attention. I didn't want to put the controller down. Yeah. And then it was also one of the games since probably Resident Evil back when I was in college, that 2 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I am done because that scene freaked me out. There was even a scene that I streamed that happened in The Last of Us 2, and you'll see it because you have to go in the building. And I immediately said, I'm ending the stream for the night. See you later, guys. And the next day I came back on. I said, remember telling everybody in the stream, if you wonder why I ended quickly, I was freaked out. So, yeah. So I'll be looking forward to that. Luke, you got any things?
Finished the campaign for Spider-Man.
Okay.
Alice, that was really fun. Just kind of, I don't want to get into the storyline or anything like that, but the gameplay itself, I was going to say it's kind of repetitive, but I think, to be honest, I think it's me that's repetitive. The challenges that the game throws up, there's several different scenarios that they give you where you're either fighting a couple of guys or you're fighting a horde.
Yeah.
And it's really only limited by how creative you are in dealing with those. So if you, like, I like to do the same things, try to take out as many by stealth as possible. So, but it's only limited by your imagination. You can jump down in there and just go to town as a brawler, trying to beat everybody. Or you can do what I did and sneak around and take out a lot of them by stealth. And once there's only a few people left, then I jump down. But it was really fun. It was really entertaining, and the storyline is super intriguing.
Yes, it is.
So and then, like I say, I finished the campaign, but I forgot most of the side missions to finish before I can.
And a lot of side missions are fun too.
Yeah.
Like you'll see that.
It's entertaining. Like my wife will tell you that I stayed up till, I think it was 3 a.m. one morning playing it.
Man,
I thought I'd only been playing for I was like, man, it's been like two hours of gameplay. No, it had been about 5. And I thought
games like that.
Probably time for me to go to bed. But yeah, that's a great game. I'm
kind of playing the
original Spider-Man now.
Yeah, the first Spider-Man I thought that was a good game. And so just seeing the graphics made me want to play Miles Morales. So I was excited to play it, and I liked it. The storyline kind of got me, especially at the end. Washington, with their injured quarterback, came back into the game, just scored a touchdown. I think they're looking at it. I think it will probably be a good touchdown. I think he had control. So they're down 28-22. 4 minutes left. Yet. All timeout.
Just hoping.
Go Henneke.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, before your last comments, I just need to know, is your order that you made the other day still legit?
My order? Oh, my PS5 order? Yeah, apparently still is legit. I actually checked it yesterday. I haven't got an email.
Why didn't you say anything?
Because I don't have a PS5.
Why didn't you say you got an order?
He doesn't want to jinx it. That's why I was just saying that order.
I won't get to look at it until it's actually on my doorstep.
Where'd you order it from?
GameStop.
GameStop.
It
took me forever today.
Hey, remember when I called Randy saying when it said that it had been returned? Freaked me out. But I called them up and they said, no, it's still there. And I was like,
no, I haven't got a confirmation email from them yet, but I did go online yesterday and I checked. Like I typed in all the information I need to type in, and it's still still there.
If
like
not,
I'm still gonna get it.
If not, go to their website and go to the chat or call them. Yeah, and I can give you their number, and they'll tell you everything.
I got the bundle I got was the I think it comes with like so much money on a PlayStation card. It comes with a $20 GameStop card, 2 controllers, and then a headset. But it's not like the new headset. It's like one of their Turtle Beach headsets.
But that day,
the Turtle Beach headset.
Luke,
that's right. It's the same.
Luke and Ross, Best Buy did like 3 waves of PS5s within like 30-minute time slots, and then GameStop that afternoon did like 3 different bundles, and then the digital and the disc versions by themselves. They only did like 1 wave of the consoles by themselves, but
it was actually kind of annoying because I got all the way to the first go around. I got all the way to the checkout. Like when I say checkout, I mean I checked out and it didn't process anything. And it said there was a problem processing all this. So it kicked me out, had to go all the way back through. And I was like, I'm only gonna do this one more time. And I actually got it. Like when I finally got back through that time, I managed to get it all the way in. So
Good deal.
Well,
that's what she
be
said.
looking forward to that. That's what she said. Well, you're
Yeah.
supposed to get it. Didn't it say this January 31st or something like that?
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Now you
Be
can
looking
get Call
forward
of
to that.
Duty and start playing with us.
well, I told him, I said, "Are you already getting games?" And he's like, "No, I'm gonna wait till I get it in my hands first." And so I was like, "That makes
Yeah,
sense."
I would too.
I'm not. I mean,
Hey.
it's the digital one, so I'm not gonna.
Start buying PS5 digital versions, and they say, "Oh yeah, you didn't get the game."
Was that so? Was the PlayStation Plus bundle that comes pre-downloaded all the games? Is that only for the original release, or does he get that too?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I kind of think it's for any.
Body who's got
PS5, I
PlayStation
think.
Plus, right? Or
I have
PS5?
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus, and I have a bunch of digital games on there. So I would imagine that it was gonna.
You should. I
It's gonna
mean,
let
you
me
should.
take
I don't know why you
the
wouldn't.
library over. Because I even have the I even have the EA stuff and whatnot. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a blessing too. Because I mean, like, those are legit games. They weren't like crappy, independent games. Like I'm playing The Last of Us through the PlayStation Plus package. So, and I'm gonna play more. I think Days Gone's on there. Kind of want to try that. I want to try playing Fallout again. I think the Uncharted games are on there. I have to go back and look, see what all was on there. But I mean, they were good games. They weren't independent throwaway games. They were like, hey, try this. So I hope you get that. I'm glad you're getting one.
Yeah.
I hope you get one.
All right, guys. That's going to be it for our podcast today.
One more thing.
All right.
If anybody's listening, give us a follow and a like on Law Dog Avenger Gaming and Titan Avenger Gaming.
And
Find us on YouTube and Facebook.
if anybody's looking for baits, they need to look at String Stretcher Baits.
On Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Stretcher Baits.
Makes his baits in his shop, ready and fresh to go.
That's some good content on both
Made to
pages.
order.
On all pages, man. Let me tell you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining. I wish David was here so we could all sing happy birthday or hummed it or something. But maybe we'll get him in next time. Appreciate all of y'all. And anybody that's listening, please share around. Keep listening to us. Again, if you have any topics you'd like us to talk about, share with us, email us, whatever you want us to do for us to talk about that topic. Or if you're willing, you can call in and talk to us live during this before we post it. But anyways, appreciate everybody and have a good night.